Imagine a country so completely shut off from the rest of the world that just to get a look inside, you have to go undercover. Well, today, we're doing just that. We're taking a journey into the Democratic People's Republic of Korea. But to see what's really going on, you first have to get past a wall of control that is almost impossible to break through.
And these aren't just, suggestions. They are absolute unbreakable rules. The regime's main goal is to control not just who comes in, but what ideas come in. And to them, the most dangerous idea of all is the simple, unfiltered truth, which is exactly why being a journalist is forbidden above all else.
So to get this story, our team had to go completely dark. They had to pretend to be tourists, just to see the country through the only lens the government allows. What you're about to see is a look at that perfectly polished, carefully staged reality, and the disturbing truths that are hiding just beneath the surface.
Okay, so the journey into North Korea. It doesn't actually start in Pyongyang. It starts way back in Beijing. That's where you sign up for one of these tightly controlled tours, which for most foreigners is the only way in. And it's right there that you basically sign away your freedom and agree to a long list of some pretty bizarre and non-negotiable rules.
I mean, just look at how total this control is. It's not just about what you do, it's about who you are. What you read, what you wear, even your nationality. If you're South Korean, you're just not allowed in. Period. So before you even step 1 foot in the country, your independence is gone. And you're assigned these state guides who, believe me, will become your shadow for the entire trip. The second you get on Air Koryo, the state-owned airline, the indoctrination kicks in. You won't find any Hollywood movies here. No. Instead, the screens just have this endless loop of propaganda videos playing over and over. And the only thing to read? The state newspaper, which is of course full of glowing reports about the regime's latest missile tests.
And once you land in Pyongyang, the rules are no longer just words on a piece of paper. They become a matter of your immediate survival. The guides who meet you at the airport, they aren't there to show you the sights. They're there to make sure you follow the rigid laws that will dictate your every single move.
These rules are all designed to create a bubble, a totally sealed-off version of reality. Every single conversation is monitored, every view is controlled. And that rule about not folding or damaging a picture of the leader, that's really telling. It's not just seen as disrespectful, it's treated like blasphemy. It gives you a hint of the godlike status the leaders have here.
And make no mistake about it, these are not empty threats. The consequences for breaking the rules, even for something that seems minor, can be absolutely catastrophic. And there's no better or more chilling reminder of that than the tragic story of the American student Otto Warmbier.
Warmbier was on a tour exactly like this one, staying in the very same hotel they put all the foreigners in. His crime? He took a propaganda poster off a wall. For that one act, he was sentenced to 15 years of hard labor. He was eventually sent back to the U.S. in a coma, and he died just a few days later. His story is like a ghost that hangs over every single tourist who enters that country.
So who is the man at the center of this incredibly controlled world? Who is the architect of all this fear? To really understand North Korea, you have to try to understand Kim Jong Un. And he is, to put it mildly, a walking contradiction.
This is the great paradox of Kim Jong Un. On one hand, you've got the guy who was partly educated in the West, who apparently spent years in Switzerland. He loves the NBA so much he flew Dennis Rodman over for a visit. He's the guy building ski resorts and water parks. But on the other hand, you have a ruthless, brutal tyrant who holds on to power by purging his rivals and ordering assassinations.
When he first took over, a lot of people outside North Korea wrote him off as too young, too inexperienced. He proved them all wrong with unbelievable brutality. He had his own uncle, a man who was a huge figure in his father's government, dragged out of a party meeting and executed. Then he launched a systematic purge, getting rid of almost all of the old guard who had served his father.
But his most shocking move came in 2017. He ordered the assassination of his own half-brother, Kim Jong Un, who was living in exile. And this wasn't some secret spy mission. This was a brazen, public murder in a busy international airport using VX nerve agent, a weapon of mass destruction. The message to the world was crystal clear. No one is safe, and no one is beyond my reach.
So how does one person maintain this level of absolute control over 25 million people? Well, the answer is a system of propaganda that is so pervasive, it starts the moment you're born and literally never stops.
Take, for example, the model farm that they show to tourists. Right in the middle of it, there's this huge, grand statue celebrating how much food the country produces. The darkest irony?
It was built during a horrific famine in the 1990s that killed possibly millions of North Koreans.
When the undercover journalists on this trip asked their guide a simple question, "Where are all the farmers?" the reply they got tells you everything. It is too hot, they are in the shadow. It's the perfect example of the regime's propaganda. A simple, dismissive answer meant to cover up a reality that's always kept just out of view.
This indoctrination is everywhere. It's woven into the very fabric of daily life. Citizens have to perform these mandatory bows in front of giant statues of the leaders. Little kids perform these flawless dances with these eerie, fixed smiles. In school, a science lesson might feature models of so-called satellite launches, which, funny enough, look exactly like ballistic missiles. And in museums, kids are shown these graphic, unverified paintings of American atrocities from the Korean War.
All of this serves to hammer home one single, unifying idea, that the nation is under constant threat from an outside enemy. And that enemy is always, without fail, the United States. As one of the guides flat out told the team, the U.S. Army is our biggest enemy. I hate them.
So all of this, the purges, the propaganda, the total isolation, it all leads to a really important question. Are these the actions of some irrational madmen? Or is there a cold, calculating logic behind it all?
Well, most North Korea experts believe it's definitely the second one. From Kim Jong Un's point of view, he saw what happened to dictators like Saddam Hussein in Iraq and Muammar Gaddafi in Libya. They gave up their weapons of mass destruction, and they were overthrown. So he learned what he sees as the ultimate lesson: the only ironclad guarantee against foreign invasion is having nuclear weapons. In his mind, nobody messes with a nuclear state.
And the top experts on North Korea, they agree. They don't see an unpredictable madman. They see, as one put it, a master of survival. Someone who was ruthless, yes, but also incredibly pragmatic, playing a very weak hand with terrifying skill. His #1 goal isn't world conquest, it's just keeping himself in power.
And this, right here, is the central problem for the rest of the world. Are his nuclear weapons just a defensive shield, a guarantee for his own survival, or are they a sword that he fully intends to use to chase bigger ambitions on the world stage?
So what is he, a pragmatic survivor, just doing what he thinks he has to do to keep his regime alive? Or is he a genuine global threat with a nuclear arsenal at his fingertips? Figuring out the difference is the single most critical challenge in dealing with North Korea today. And the answer to that question changes everything.